Good day, my name is Tebello Motaung. I am a South African young female leader of the Amazon Leadership Initiative, and in the month of July, I was given the opportunity to travel to Nairobi, Kenya for the 5th GIMAC strategic engagement with REX, AU, and partners. I was given this opportunity with 2 other incredible members of our organization. Early on the 12th of July, Divine and I met up at OR Tambo, and it was freezing. However, it was so lovely seeing Divine after not seeing each other for quite some time. The flight then took off. The sky was bright and sunny as we were flying to Nairobi. During the flight, we were lucky to witness the view of the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro just before we landed in Kenya, where it was much warmer than SA. Overall, a good flight.
Hello everyone. Like my TheALI sister Tebello has mentioned, my name is Divine Yamlamba, and I also had the privilege of attending the GIMAC meeting that took place in Nairobi, Kenya. I hope you're enjoying our story so far. Now, where were we? Oh yes, the weather is warm and fantastic. Tebello and I were exhausted though. However, that did not stop us from what we were impatiently waiting for. That's right. We weren't just anticipating the GIMAC conference, but also meeting with Nurat. I screamed when that day finally arrived. Nurat is a breath of fresh air. Did I mention she's got style? You know what? Let me pass on the mic to her and she will introduce herself before we proceed to the first day of our GIMAC experience.
Hi, my name is Nurat Wamaya. I am a young female leader of the Amazon Leadership Initiative, the team lead, and the social media and engagement associate. I had the incredible honor of attending the GIMAC meeting. GIMAC is Gender is My Agenda meeting that was held in Nairobi together with my sisters Divine and Tebello. Yes, oh my goodness, it was surreal meeting my TheALI sisters for the first time. After working together for almost 2 years now, the vibe was vibing, everything was giving, and they look so beautiful and amazing in person. My expectation going into the GIMAC meeting were, of course, to meet female luminaries and fellow feminists who have been there even before me, who have paved the way for gender equality. I was also expecting to learn a lot, to unlearn other things, and also to relearn the things that I'm yet to know or I've learned differently. I also expected it to equip me for advocacy on the status of women in trade and just generally looking at the intersectionality between gender and trade and also the youths.
I share the same sentiment as Nurat. This brings me to day 1 of the GIMAC conference. Let me begin by saying we got lost. The venue on the invitation had a twin, so we went to the duplicate of Pride in Azure, but thank goodness we weren't alone. We had a chance to meet with incredible other women such as Mrs. Enrica Okondo, who is the Senior Global Advisor in a youth-led NGO called REPA. And so we finally arrived safe and sound and united. And to begin with, we were invited to a side event on the perspectives of African communities in Mali, South Sudan, and Somalia that are affected by climate change and conflict. Here we learned that conflict and the environmental impact of global warming prevent communities from fulfilling their primary livelihood activities, such as farming and trade. We felt that the recommendations made by the researchers of this study was quite fair, as it suggested managing financial insecurity not only through funding, but early crisis warning to prepare and educate people, especially women, when environmental issues arise. As for the main event itself, Day 1 taught us what the AfCFTA stands for. I know, it sounds long and complex, but it's pretty cool and relevant. The African Continental Free Trade Area, that is the AfCFTA, is one of the projects of the African Union, which seeks to create a continent without border constraints that limit us to trade with each other. The first day really put an emphasis on women participation within trade. We understood that meaningful participation among women is not defined the same with all of us.
Now it's day 2 and the official start of the 5th GIMAC strategic engagement. The turnout was incredible, and I was exposed to so many different experts in their fields, and I got to hear from many, many, many different people on their opinions and their views on how AfCFTA should be implemented. The event was kicked off with the key recommendations from the youth advocacy training from the previous day, and it was incredible to see our opinions and our solutions being taken into consideration. I learned that implementing the AfCFTA policy is not just enough. We have to fight for how it is implemented and how it will help us, the young women youth of Africa, succeed in the trade industry. We then went into breakout sessions in which I decided to join the gender and trade and agriculture, and it was incredible to hear from these two strong female farmers about their difficulties in the farming industry, but also how they've overcome it. I got to meet incredible people such as Dr. Thelma Awori, the Ugandan professor who was formerly the Assistant Secretary General in the United Nations. And during lunch, I got to network with an incredible group for He's for Hers who were very vocal about advocating the rights for girls and young women in Africa.
We had lots and lots of learning in the 2 days, as my sisters have relayed. And for day 3, first off, it had a vibe to it, like we were celebrating being together and the strides that we made for the 2 days so far. We looked at the national and regional practices and innovations for promoting women's empowerment and gender equality in trade and trade policies. We looked at innovations like having childcare centers in economic zones or at the border points. We also were enlightened on the measures to protect women that we can use, having police even who are women who will listen to women's issues. That we were also enlightened about, the need to have gender-responsive trade services, maybe educational services, healthcare services, financial services, even leadership in general, in terms of, who is making these policies. Are women involved? Are young women involved? Are rural women involved? Are they considering, the sexual orientation and gender identities of the people who are trading? Are they safe to trade between countries and such like? They say we fail for lack of knowledge, right? And here at TheALI, we ensure that our knowledge is shared and put into practice. Much heartfelt appreciation goes to the Graca Machel Trust, who sponsored 2 of our young female leaders to attend the GIMAC conference. We also would like to appreciate the Amazon Leadership Initiative Associates and also our founder, Mary Zobo, who all work tirelessly to ensure that young female leaders have opportunities to lead, be in spaces, co-chair such initiatives and meetings and decision making in general. And of course, a special thanks goes to the young female leaders who are always up to take up these leadership spaces or these spaces and opportunities that are available to them. We are grateful and we look forward to seeing you where the action is, and for a gender equal today and a gender equal future. As always, Black girl, your dreams are valid.